Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's amazing how we use the tools every day. I find that we can move faster, right? But there is still a balance of like, you still have to understand what it is that you're doing. You need to make sure that the
Sure.
output makes sense, right? I keep hearing pitfalls of some people who did experience where they did something and they just sent it out. I'm like, you can't do that. It's a
Yeah.
tool, it's not a replacement, right? And so,
100%.
what are some of the pitfalls that you've seen or that you've
Mhm.
experienced? You just mentioned that you guys have brought some tools on and then you stopped using them. You don't have to name the tools. We don't want to, get in trouble here, but or you can, I guess. What are some of the things that you found that didn't work for you? Because we talk about all the beautiful positives, right? But there are some negatives to some of these things, right?
Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. A lot of the AI that we've been seeing and using still requires a lot of human input, right? A lot of them are LLMs or language learning models where you have to put in a prompt and it generates something that you read through and then you take that and then you apply it to an action, right? Where a lot of the AI tools have been trying to develop into is more of what's called an agent model, right? Where
Mhm.
you prompt it and it goes from step 1 all the way through step 10 or all the way through A to Z. It completes the task. Those tools that we've used, we've tested out a few of them, are still pretty clunky. There doesn't really seem to be anything that has been able to actually take a beginning prompt and actually generate something that's super concrete and super good. It also depends on what you're applying it to, right? Preparing for this podcast, I was going through a bunch of different articles and reading a bunch of different things. And there was an article that was written and was like, hey, watch this guy prepare a tax return using AI. And it was a guy who went in and he prompted something. The prompt was a mile long with all the different information for the client and all the stuff. And he was like, check this out. And you hit enter. And it came up with what should the standard deduction be for this couple? It's like, well, the standard deduction is $24,000. That's kind of common knowledge. He's like, well, then watch this.
Yeah.
What would their estimated tax liability be? And it came out and spit out their estimated tax liability, which is cool. That's a great tool that we can use from a planning perspective when sitting down and working with a client. But that in no way, shape, or form was generating an actual tax return with the use of AI. Right.
Mhm.
I do believe that AI is still a long ways away from being able to actually complete those types of things in an accurate way. We've also seen it where a lot of professionals have gotten into a lot of trouble using and trusting these tools. There have been lawyers that have been disbarred
Mhm.
Yes.
using these tools and not
Yep.
actually researching what they are submitting to the courts and run into a lot of trouble. AI, the tricky part about the LLMs is a lot of times when you prompt it with a question or you prompt it with a task, it will make up certain facts in order to complete that task. And so it does require a lot of due diligence on our side to make sure that whatever it's generating is legitimate.